What is up, guys? Sigler95 coming at you live with a new type of video today in honor of Travis Scott's new album Utopia being released earlier this week. I am going to be doing a tier list of his albums and a mixtape and one like a collaborative album with Quavo, but we'll get into that. Before we get into it, I want to talk about why I feel like I can give a pretty good opinion on Travis Scott. I've been a fan of his since days before Rodeo. Been listening to him on SoundCloud back then, and back in college, I used to, in order to like try to get more people to like, I don't know, raise awareness or whatever. I used to like tweet out like one of his more like underground songs once a week, just that people may not know and not the mainstream songs. I'm also a big music buff. I really enjoy listening to albums from start to finish. In most cases, that's how most musicians and artists like want their albums heard, from start to finish. So I'm a big fan of that. A couple things I take into account when I am ranking these albums: I'm taking into account lyrics, I'm taking into account beat, I'm taking into account flow, vibes. Is it a banger or not? Is it able to be like re-listened to over and over, or does it kind of get boring after a couple listens to? You know, some songs like fine wine or cheese, they get better as they age. So yeah, kind of taking all that stuff into account. One thing I'm not taking into account is music videos, because you can have a terrible song and a killer music video, and vice versa. And sometimes artists like to put two of their songs into a music video. So yeah, without further ado, we're going to start from his oldest stuff to his newest stuff. So first up is Al Faro, which was his first mixtape, kind of got him on the scene. Now, he'd made some stuff before that, but this is like the first major like mixtape that got put on like SoundCloud and stuff like that, that kind of got him, I think, started the momentum for where he's at right now. We're going to put this in C tier. Now, no hate. It's got some good songs on it. I go back and listen to it every once in a while, but, you know, it's his first thing. You know, not everything's a grand slam, especially when you're starting out. Days Before Rodeo. Now, Days Before Rodeo is a banger. Has some really good songs into it. You can tell it's a little bit raw, I guess is the word I would use. Some of his songs aren't as cleaned up as some of his newer music is, but really love the lyrics in Days Before Rodeo. Let's go in B tier. Next up is Rodeo. Now, Rodeo was the beginning of something wonderful when it comes to Travis Scott. Really enjoyed Rodeo. I know I'm not taking into account music videos, but the 90210 music video is awesome. And there's just a lot of really great bangers on this album. This goes A tier, easily. And some list I saw that was an S tier too. I think, in my opinion, S tier, like, there's only one S tier, you know? Like, you could have multiple songs or albums in A, B, C, or D, but, like, there should only be, like, one S tier, because that's, like, the highest standard. And while we're speaking of highest standard, Birds in the Trap Sing Bride McKnight. Now, I don't know if this is because this album came out at the perfect time for me. Coming towards the end of college, got football game days, you're going out to the bars. This album just banger after banger after banger after banger. I mean, from start to finish, Birds in the Trap Sing Bride McKnight is perhaps maybe one of the greatest musical albums ever created. Period. I will die on that hill. I know a lot of people agree with me. Just bangers. I mean, what else can I say? That's going S tier for sure, 100%. I remember that album came out. I'd just gotten back from class, came home, threw my backpack down, put it on a big soundboard, like what are those called? Sound bars. And just windows open, door open to the little house I was renting, and just blasted this. And even to this day, like, I probably play a Birds in the Trap song minimum at least once a week, but most likely way more than that. Great album. S tier. Honcho Jack. Now, this was an interesting album. It was Travis Scott and Quavo together making an album. This is kind of where the whole Cactus Jack, I don't know what to call it, identity. Yeah, I don't know. Cactus Jack kind of took off with that and did a lot of marketing stuff with that, sold some products and stuff like that. But honestly, it's C tier for me. I'll put it in front of Al Faro though. It does have some good songs in it. But I do find myself kind of humming some of the tunes, but overall not his best work, but that's okay. I also don't love the artwork that is on this song and album. It looks a little disturbing. I don't know if y'all can tell from there, but look up the Honcho Jack like album and artwork and stuff like that. It's kind of interesting. It reminds me of some. It reminds me of like what the artwork that someone that's like schizophrenic would draw. I don't know. It just gives weird vibes. All right, next on the list is Astroworld. Now, Astroworld probably had the biggest build-up to an album being released that, at least in my like the music I listen to. I think I had like a counting down calculator, like a days until release for Astroworld. And I'll be honest, when it actually came out, my first and second like listen through, I was a little disappointed. And now that I have had time to like look back and re-listen to it and stuff like that, I think maybe I felt disappointed just because of how much hype there was going into it. Since I've been able to like listen through and stuff like that, I think it's better than I initially thought it was. But there are just a couple songs on Astroworld that are just duds for me. Now, obviously, there's some bangers, but compared to like Birds in the Trap, I don't feel like Astroworld has as good of listenability, like re-listenability, if that's a word. But I still think it's a good album. I'll say I still think it's a great album. I'm gonna put it A tier. Now I don't know. I think I'm gonna put it in front of Rodeo too. I know I just kind of talked shit on it, but I'm gonna put it in front of Rodeo just because it was produced so well, and I don't know. I have Astroworld on vinyl. And there are some cool like beat switches and stuff like that. I think the hype just actually played against Astroworld instead of helping it. But whatever, still good album. Still gonna put it A tier. Next up is Jack Boys. Now Jack Boys is an album that Travis like made and produced with his group. It's got like Don Tolliver and other people that are kind of part of Travis's label. It's a pretty short album. I'm pretty sure it only has like 8 songs on it, and one of them's like an interlude. Not great. Gotta go D tier. Ooh, whoops, D tier. There's like one song on it I like, and the rest is just kind of meh. But not everything can be a banger, And last up is Utopia. Now, Utopia's ranking is kind of hard to do. It's subject to change just because, it just came out a couple days ago. Excuse me. Just came out a couple days ago, so like I mentioned earlier, some albums, some songs get better with time as you listen through them. But upon my first few listens through, Utopia has some interesting songs. I also feel that some of the songs were the flow would have been a little better if the order was changed. I just feel like at times it kind of the vibe of the album switched all of a sudden. And to compare it to Lil Uzi's Pink Tape that also came out recently, I feel like it was the same thing, and I don't know if mainstream rappers are kind of going this way, but it's like at times there's like screamo, which I'm not against, but it just comes out of nowhere. And then at times there's like really slow songs, like for instance in Utopia, there's like one song where Beyonce is just on there randomly, like singing real nice, and it sounds good. Don't get me wrong, but I was like, oh, I'm trying to turn up. I'm trying to listen to bangers, and all of a sudden it like slows down, and I don't know. There are definitely some good songs on it. I'm gonna put Utopia B tier for now. Definitely could be subject to change as I spend more time listening to it, but I will be honest. If the song Schizo was not on Utopia, it would be C tier for sure. I think the Schizo is a banger song, and that song alone brings it up to B tier. But yeah, that's just my opinion, guys. Feel free to let me know what you guys think. This is not an all-exclusive list. I mean, we could do individual songs, we could do singles, we could do all his like SoundCloud music that didn't make it to streaming services, things like that. But I just wanted to start out doing something a little bit new. Never really done a tier list like this before. And it's really harder than I thought it was going to be to actually put it out there, because like, I want to like that. That's tough. That's tough. It's hard to break it down like this. It's like choosing your favorite kid. Always difficult. But I think that's gonna do it for today. We'll be back with our randomized heart gold challenge probably the next few days. But just wanted to get this out there. I thought it was interesting, especially with Utopia coming out. But this has been Sigler95. Thank you for watching. Stay tuned. Feel free to let me know what you guys think and if you would have things ranked a little bit differently. But yeah, I'm going to go ahead and sign off. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.